Standing by with his reaction is Leader of the NDP, Jagmeet Singh. Jagmeet Singh, the government's fate likely rests in your hands. Did you hear enough in this speech that you're willing to vote to keep this government in power?
Well, Ms. Stephenson, what I've said in the past is that I wouldn't be surprised if the Liberal government and Prime Minister Trudeau said a lot of the right things. They've been really good at saying the right words, but not so good at actually delivering the action or making people's lives better. And so where we hear the Liberal government announcing a lot of the promises and commitments, we haven't seen action in the past. The pharmacare announcement, well, they've promised pharmacare since the late 90s and has not been achieved. People are not better off. They talk about housing. When we look at the existing housing announcement that they made, they've not spent money in many provinces. People have not seen a dime or no investments, no building of new affordable housing. So what I'm worried about, again, is this is a nice speech, a lot of maybe nice words, but they don't match up with this Liberal government's actions, particularly given that their first action they're taking right now is a proposal to cut the help that Canadians receive who cannot go back to work. That to me is wrong. So I've said very clearly to the Prime Minister, if the Prime Minister wants our support, then if they put in place a commitment to not cut help to Canadians who can't go to work, keep their supports at the same level, and put in place paid sick leave, we will support that legislation.
Mr. Singh, when you say cut the help to Canadians, is that your reference to them winding down the CERB and putting everybody onto employment insurance instead?
Right, and I'm not worried about the mechanism. Rolling things to EI is not my concern. My concern is the fact that the Liberal government's proposing to cut the help that families receive by 20%, taking it from $2,000 down to $1,600. That massive cut to help to Canadians who are not able to work through no fault of their own. These are folks that have jobs that are not there anymore. They have a sector that they can no longer go back to because of COVID-19 restrictions. Tourism, hospitality, service sector. So for those workers, the Liberal government's first actual act, the proposal on the table right now, the one that we have and that we received since the summer, is to cut their help. That's wrong. They should take that back and instead maintain the same level of support and put in place paid sick leave, and that's something that we could support.
So then I guess I'll circle back to that sort of original question. Are you willing to vote in favor of what's in the throne speech and then wait and see whether you want to continue to support the government on the budget, or is this insufficient and you're prepared to head to an election?
What I've said from the beginning, Ms. Stephenson, is that I'm not looking for a way to tear down government. I want to continue to fight for people. That's what we've been doing as New Democrats from the beginning, helping to make sure that those who are being forgotten about or left behind are not forgotten about, and fighting for the people that need help. So right now, our test to the Liberal government is this. You're saying a lot of words, but what are your actions? Well, the first act that they proposed is to cut the help to people. They've got to stop that. They've got to stop their proposal to cut help to Canadians, and instead, in a second wave with numbers increasing, we need to see the same level of support to families that can't go back to work, and we need to see paid sick leave. And I'll wait to see the government's response to that. But that action would show me a commitment to actually helping people more than the words on the paper of the throne speech.
Well, we'll be keeping a close eye on that to see if you get what you're asking for there. Mr. Singh, thank you for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, Ms. Stephenson.